Hello everyone and welcome to Don't Be Bored. Today I'm joined by Josh, one of the co-designers of Beach Day. This is a drafting and tile placement game for 1 to 4 players where you are going to be building out that beach and decorating it with things such as sandcastles and shells. So welcome to the channel. Josh, please introduce yourself.
Hello. I am Josh, and I am one of the owners of CakePie Games and designers of Beach Day. Really glad to be here. I do a lot of things in the game industry. I am the co-host of the Tabletop Submarine podcast, and right now I'm trying to start a game company with Beach Day, our first game for my company, CakePie Games. We make games that are a piece of cake to set up and easy as pie to teach. I've designed some games that you've heard about. I've done lots of development for a game called Guns or Treasure, some Castillo games, and I have a couple RPGs. One as of right now should be coming out the next year or two that I can't quite announce yet. But that's me in a nutshell.
What a great idea for a company, and well, as a theme, that beach theme is certainly a unique one. Was this actually always the theme for the game?
So this was not the theme from the initial concept. The theme started off as a game called Yard Gods, which was about you are playing a bunch of ants who have come upon a playground full of toddlers, and because they don't know what they are, they're worshiping them as gods, and so you were setting up little cults of different types of ants to turn towards the players and try to get the biggest group of ants to worship you or your statues and stuff like that. Still a concept I want to revisit, but with the help of my team that was there at CakePie with Brennan and our friend Devin, we jigger rigged the theme to make it more approachable, which is how Beach Day came about. Because with the squares and triangles we were using to represent things, it became that looks like seashells, and we transformed it from there.
Thematically, that is a bit of a change, but I think you've landed on a really cool one, and a rather unique, and from the looks of it, vibrant one as well. So I think that was probably a good change to make there. Now, players are going to be drafting those decorations, and each card, each tile, has multiple decorations on it. How did you actually go about sort of balancing that and making sure it was all fair?
Yeah, it was more of the aspect of making sure the cards all played well off of each other in unique ways, because something that happens with lots of small box games, especially tilers, they can get repetitive because of the restrictions they give the players, and we didn't want that. We wanted a game that is, quote unquote, infinitely replayable, but high replayability. And so making sure that these different scoring conditions really all gelled well together, and even if they didn't gel well together, it would provide interesting decisions for players to work with as they go through a game of Beach Day for those 20 minutes that they are sitting down and playing.
Interesting decisions are so vital for making just a solid game a good one. Now, let's dive under the hood a little bit. You've already mentioned that theme change. Was there any other changes, big changes, that the game went through during the development process?
We played around a lot with how the different pictures interact with each other, because we wanted to make sure it was consistent so that players who maybe don't play a lot of games can keep track of what's going on. So sometimes we've played around with sandcastles and shells doing stuff, and then sandcastles and water doing stuff, and eventually we landed on, okay, no matter what scoring there is, sandcastles and water will always interact. Shells are going to interact with themselves. The sea turtle will react with sand. So that was the biggest change, because before it was just Wild West. They did whatever they wanted to do. But this makes it a lot tighter experience with, streamlined gameplay.
From the photos on Board Game Geek, you've done plenty of playtesting. What would you say was your primary source of playtesting, and would you recommend it?
So as far as playtesting, mostly it's going to be strangers. I believe in playtesting with strangers first and foremost, because they're going to give you unfiltered feedback of how the game is. And then once we got the gameplay down, it was majority with going to be, I would say, I call the non-hobbyist gamers, people who we're really trying to aim for. The people, because the hobbyist gamers are going to pick it up no matter what, but the grandma, grandpa, or the kid who is playing with maybe the hobbyist gamer, which is who we try to really make this game for, needs to understand the game best. They need to be able to pick it up really quick, because the hobby gamer is going to teach the game, and they're going to understand it, but the person who maybe is their gaming partner but doesn't really necessarily want to play War of the Ring or Twilight Imperium they need to get it. But also, we need to make sure that the hobby gamer enjoys it as well, so they keep coming back to it as a group or a spouse couple, or even as a group more and more.
Honest feedback can be brutal, but very useful indeed, so a great tip. Well, what sort of tip would you give to a first-time designer?
Oof. There's a lot of tips, but here's what I would say. I'd say start by designing an expansion for your favorite game that you absolutely love and go from there. That's just start doing that. That's going to be the advice I give you.
Where can people go to find out more about Beach Day?
People can go to playbeachday.com or playcakepiegames.com. Either one of those to find more information about each day. What would be the greatest help is going to our Kickstarter page and following us there.
While you're on, I have to ask, as well as co-designing Beach Day, you're also a host on Tabletop Submarine. Can you let us know a little bit about what we could expect to hear on the podcast?
So, Tabletop Submarine is a podcast where we invite people who are in the industry, people who are living, breathing, eating board games to come and share their most memorable tabletop experience. I have my co-host Andrew Stiles, designer of Wine Cellar and Digging for Dinos, goes on there with me. You will expect to hear all sorts of crazy stories from, people who are like nonverbal autistic start to speak because of board games to, just crazy, fun little dinner experiences with board games. It's a good time. It's one of my favorite things I do. It's hard to do sometimes because there's all the things I want to do, but that's what you can expect to hear from Tabletop Submarine.
A podcast to go and check out for sure, but before you do, a fun little one for Josh. What game has the best box art?
So if I were to take a board game box art and hang it on my wall, I would probably choose Tidal Blades. Yeah, I would say Tidal Blades. I like Mr. Cuddington's art a lot. I think his art style is generally incredible, but if I were to pick maybe one, I don't know, the Sleeping Gods cover is really good. I'm not necessarily a huge Ryan Lockett art fan. I think his art's interesting and evocative, but that cover specifically is just so, so good.
A huge thanks to Josh for coming on and answering the questions, for you for watching and hopefully enjoying. Links will be in the description box downstairs, so you don't need to go and find them. You can go and check the game out straight away. Go and comment, like I said, all that sort of jazz. And until next time, have a beach-filled good day.